Hey, it's Jim. I wanted to say thank you, first of all, to everyone who watched my first video, and especially everyone who commented. Thank you so much for all the heartfelt words. They mean a lot to me. Thank you also to Tales from the Crate for a wonderful, nice little shout out. That was very awesome. Thank you. I really enjoy your videos, so it's kind of nice. On a side note, we watch YouTube most of the time through a Roku on the TV, and my wife saw your shout out and she got all excited because someone talked about me on TV, which is really funny because YouTube is simply running through our TV, so to her it's on TV, which I think is funny. Anyways, so I wanted to talk about one particular genre in this video. And it's a genre that means a lot to me. It's a genre that has a lot of opinions around it, a lot of different names. Dream pop, some people use it synonymously with shoegaze. Doesn't matter, you know, a genre is a genre. When a band is a good band, they're really a genre of one. So, you know, the term for me is just a way to describe the threads that go through some music and the things that seem to inspire one band or musician to another. And I, you know, I'm just trying to look at it that way. So for me, I started listening to things that are called dream pop, I guess right in the beginning, sort of for the beginning. The bands that seem to have inspired a lot of dream pop mostly came out of the post-punk era. Bands like Susie and the Banshees and you know, Modern English and some other bands that were kind of moving around in those circles but weren't necessarily in that genre, so, or really didn't exist yet. So in my mind, dream pop really starts with one band, and that's Cocteau Twins. The first record that they produced, called Garlands, had Elizabeth Fraser, Robin Guthrie, and Will Hedgie in the band. And that was really more of a post-punk record. I wouldn't call it dream pop at all. It was really angular, really kind of more dissonant than the later records. And I love that record, but it is a very different sound than what they did later. So this record, Head Over Heels, came out in '83. The thing that really hit me when I listened to this when it came out was Sugar Hiccup, which stands out on this record because it's sort of beautiful, just enveloping, lush sound that it just feels like it's falling on you like rain. It's just so beautiful. It's something that Robin Guthrie was able to do like nobody else. To me, that song really set the tone for the beginning. And then it continues on with Treasure, and just really opens up. And I'll talk about Treasure on another video. So dream pop didn't come into being like overnight. It just, you know, there were a lot of things happening, a lot of different bands doing different things. I remember at the time just Cocteau Twins sounding like they were from another planet. They just felt so different by the time Treasure had come out. Songs like Pearly Dewdrops Drops and, you know, some of the other singles. They made a lot of EPs. And they just were developing this whole sound. But there were other bands that were doing things that felt to me like they had the same spirit. One of those around that time, this is, I believe, end of '84, beginning of '85, around there, is the Blue Nile. And this record really, I don't know that people call it dream pop, but it really had that tone. It just had that, you know, sort of lose yourself in this other world, you know, this beautiful, this wasn't really a wall of sound kind of thing, like some of the later dream pop and shoegaze records that would come along, but it really had this this tone that was just, it felt like a nighttime record. I mean, I suppose if Cocteau Twins felt like, you know, a summer rain, then this record felt like a, you know, a sort of thunderstorm at night. There's a thread there, but they're not the same thing. Beautiful record.
Why did we ever come so far? I knew I'd seen it all before. Told the rain, reach up and fade. Tinseltown is in the rain.
So the next record is, I think, 1985, and that's Jesus and Mary Chain, Psycho Candy. This record really, I think, introduces what would become shoegaze, which gets kind of crossed over into dream pop, and you know, their influences are, you know, very obviously the, you know, Velvet Underground, the wall of sound, that, you know, that's really where a lot of this is coming from, but it's just fed through, you know, this amazing approach that produces something really special. So the next band that I want to talk about is somebody that I don't see mentioned often enough when it comes to dream pop, and which is a little ironic because Alex Aiuli was the person who actually coined the term dream pop. So to describe it, their own music. That's A.R. Kane. This is the first record that I got from them. I believe it's their first record. It's a single called Lolita. Just a great song, great record. Their first, this is '87, I believe. Their first record called 69 came out in 1988, and then another record in '89 called I believe. I mean, if if you like dream pop and you haven't heard of A.R. Kane and you haven't listened to these records, go out and find them. They are amazing records, absolutely worth the effort to find, and just beautiful, beautiful records. Just noisy and crunchy and you know, sort of the predecessor of what would become my Bloody Valentine sound. Great stuff. Great bridge between Jesus and Mary Chain and My Bloody Valentine. Slow Dive Ride, all of those that are coming up. Next is a record that everybody calls dream pop. I think of it as dream pop, but it definitely has a very different sensibility to it, and that's Galaxie 500. Today, their first record. They don't have the wall of sound that everybody thinks of with dream pop. I think Dean Wareham has said that on the first record he basically had one effects pedal. You know, dream pop and shoegaze gets this reputation as having a stage full of effects pedals, and it's not necessarily true. Some of it is just the tone, the distortion, the feeling of the record, and it's not necessarily the effects that are laden over the top of everything. Beautiful record. Most people know this. If you don't, the 3 records, I believe, that Galaxie 500 recorded, not a bad one in there. One is one of the more well-known records from dream pop shoegaze, and that's this one here. And this is 1988, I believe. I had been introduced to My Bloody Valentine about a year before this came out with the Ecstasy EP, which was great, and I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't quite what this would be. Isn't Anything is just an amazing record. It really kind of threw down the gauntlet on shoegaze and kind of made a statement in a way that, you know, not many bands have. They go on in their next record to really kind of perfect their sound, and, you know, with Loveless. But I always thought that this record had a great tone to it that was still a little bit more raw, and I really liked that. It hadn't quite gotten to the point where Kevin Shields had sort of become obsessive in layering and developing a sound yet. I loved this record from the moment I put it on the turntable. and it's you can't go wrong with this. So if you don't know this record, if you haven't given it a chance, then please do. It's stunning. So this next one is a band that I never hear anyone mention in the dream pop or shoegaze circles, and or any circles. I've just never heard anybody talk about this particular band. Their progenitor, the first band that they were, people talk about, and that's the Virgin Prunes. But the Virgin Prunes kind of disintegrated in the mid-'80s and became, at least a portion of them, became just the Prunes. David Basaris, Rowan, Trevor Rowan, and Mary Donnellan, I think, were the three that were part of the Prunes. They made 3 records. They made Light Fantastic, Nada, which is this record, and Blood, Blossoms and Blood. Blossoms and Blood, I've never owned, so I'm not sure what that record sounds like. But the first 2 I had, and this record in particular is just a stunning record. I just remember in college, I just started, went to art school, and I just remember spending, every day walking from where I lived to my studio, and having this on the Walkman, and just being in another world. Just such a beautiful sound, so kind of vibrant and immersive. If you can come across these records, the first record I think is good, but I think this is a great record. Nada by the Prunes. Very different from the Virgin Prunes. So if you've been exposed to the sort of Gavin Friday era of this band, not the same. Very different sound, but great stuff.
Hearts of flowers, seeds the sun, reeds and trees, no sun's rise. 12 months are worth of December.
So there are tons more records that I could be talking about, but I'm going to try and keep this short because it's already ridiculously long. For anybody that stuck around this long, if you're interested, We are rebuilding our home. Things are going well. We're really happy. This week was awesome because we got a foundation and now we have walls going up. We're thrilled. It's really great to kind of have something solid to actually look at and walk around in. That's an amazing thing. It's taken almost a year and a half at this point to get here. So yay. And you know, I'll probably tack something on at the end of each video to just kind of keep everybody apprised of what's going on. I'll keep it super short though, because it's not really about music, which is why you're here. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe. If you made it this far, you're obviously really interested in this. So go ahead and subscribe, and I'll be putting more out there. Thank you.